Last summer's flooding, which hit local communities like Londonderry, Weston, and Manchester especially hard, was another wake-up call that hazard mitigation is a growing need whose time has come. Funding from the state is available to help. Vermont Emergency Management, a division of the state's Department of Public Safety, has $90 million from FEMA, the Federal Emergency Management Agency, available statewide in hazard mitigation funding to Vermont towns and other eligible applicants for projects that reduce the risk of flooding or other hazards. Eligible project types include buyouts, structural elevations and mitigation reconstruction, infrastructure projects such as upsizing bridges or culverts, floodproofing of municipal or commercial buildings, and road relocation, elevation, or soil stabilization. So we asked Dara Zink, the Emergency Management Program Manager for the Bennington County Regional Commission, to stop by and tell us more about what's going on locally in Bennington County about hazard mitigation and what that involves.
So the hazard mitigation plan is a way for towns to look into the future, and we look at different hazards, and we look at a historical context, and we look at some projections into the future, and we try to plan to address problem spots within the towns using these plans. It's a proactive measure, as well as addressing problems that the town currently has. And it's really important for towns to have this in place because there is funding that is reliant upon having a plan in place. So there's emergency relief assistance funding, where if FEMA comes in and there's a disaster that happened, like the flooding this past July, if there is a declared disaster, public assistance from FEMA is then granted to the towns, but that only covers 75%. The state can then cover a portion of the remaining 25%, but that's all dependent on the steps the town has taken preemptively to work towards mitigation, also emergency preparedness and things like that. So there's different steps, and depending on where what steps the town has taken, it then reflects in the percentage that they'll get from the state.
And are most towns that you've been working with so far, are they pretty much up to speed on this, or do they need to either update their existing plans or maybe in some cases even develop ones from scratch?
Yeah, I believe most of our towns do have existing ones in place. However, they do need to be redone every 5 years. So they need to be updated, they need to be reviewed. And we do have some towns that haven't done that yet. And there are grant funds for the towns to do that. The state has access to funding to help the towns fund that process. But yes, we do have some towns that are working towards that. The current funding that is out there, the $90 million that has been released by the state for hazard mitigation funding, that is reliant on having a hazard mitigation plan in place. Right, and it's up to the town which hazards they want to address, but some of the common ones that we see are obviously flooding. Winter storms are a big thing here, which includes ice. We address extreme temperatures, so we can address extreme heat. We can address extreme cold. And then we also look at things like wildfires, droughts. We can talk about even invasive species, infectious disease outbreaks. That's all can be included in the plan. And it's just up to the town to decide which ones they really want to focus on in the plan. We can talk about all of them. We could talk about a handful of them. But it's the town's plan, and so the town works to decide which ones they'll address. I think it's not just the hazard mitigation plans. I think it's emergency preparedness in general has kind of really sparked a stronger conversation. I know I've been working closely with Sandgate, and they have created a community roundtable around bringing the community together to support each other, and also to talk about one of the topics is emergency preparedness and making sure that everyone in the community can be prepared and ready for something.
Towns who have needs for hazard mitigation work might qualify for some of the federal FEMA money without needing to post a local match. The deadline for filing is August 16th of this year. For the GNAT-TV News Project, I'm Andrew McKeever.